Hey guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be doing a response, which I have not done in a very long time. But I read an article that was just so thought-provoking that I really do want to talk about it. And that article is by, in my personal opinion, the greatest reviewer in the entire beauty community, Temptalia, aka Christine. Christine, aka Temptalia. The article is titled, "Can We Sustain the State of Beauty Today?" I will link it below. You should absolutely check it out. It is a very, very good read, very relevant to December of 2018. And I don't really know if I can TLDR it. I'm going to have an entire video talking about it because it's a lot of information that she kind of managed to condense. But basically, to try to wrap it up for you, in my video I uploaded, Saturday, talking about Ulta's sale and the 50% off holiday sets that are going on in the first week of December. It's kind of unprecedented. We've never really seen the amount of beauty products that we currently have. We've never seen the amount of sales that we currently have. And basically the article just kind of goes over why this is happening and how things might change. You know, the question is, can we sustain the state of beauty we have? It is so much. Is it sustainable? And I've never really been one to do just one task at a time, a multitasker by birth, basically. So for this video, I'm going to be putting makeup on as well, a get ready with me style of video. I hear all the kids saying that they want to do a full beat face, so I do have my inspo photo today. So you kind of need a smidge of backstory on Temptalia before I can really talk about why I value her opinion so much. Temptalia has been around for years. Her reviews are very comprehensive. They give you all the details, all the pros and cons. She does a fantastic job of rating products, has a very good system through which she does her ratings. And because she's been doing this so long, it goes without saying that she's also very experienced. So the way the article opens is to talk about how she's become cognizant of the phrase, "you need this," in the beauty community, which I completely agree with, and I came to this conclusion myself probably around the same time that she did. I heard myself say it in a video, and I just thought to myself, I'm like, that's not really true. Not every person watching my video needs the product that I'm holding in my hand. It's just realistically, they don't. And to quote her directly, she says in the article, "I'm increasingly aware of wealth inequality and just how deeply that impacts every aspect of someone's life." And it's really true. You know, you can sit there and say, you need this Natasha Denona palette, but it is absolutely not going to be true for somebody who is having struggles purchasing food for the month. You know, it's not, like, it's actually a terrible thing to say. And if you think about it, it's the kind of thing that you wouldn't say to somebody's face, but apparently people feel comfortable saying it to a camera and forgetting that, again, like Temptalia says, there really is a huge wealth inequality in this world. What's so fascinating about this is that this idea of creating a language and using the same words is really, it's an evolutionary idea. All the young people that are saying the phrases that Cardi B says, for example, are establishing this idea that we're all part of this same group. We know what these things mean. We say them to each other, and beauty gurus do the same thing with that type of language, with that "you need this" idea. So Temptalia continues in this article to talk about how 5 years ago, she had reviewed $6,000 worth of product in around 2,500 shades. And in the last year, she reviewed $51,000 worth of product, all of which she purchased herself, and the shades doubled. I think there's a lot of interesting things going on there that we need to talk about, especially considering that in many ways the price of beauty has dropped significantly. But she's saying she spent 10 times the money and only doubled her product reviews. That's scary. And a lot of the article focuses on how frustrated she is that she feels she cannot keep up with the pace of beauty. And I think that's true for all of us, whether you're attempting to review products for other people or you're just a consumer yourself. It really has become a very overwhelming beauty industry for all of us. So then she gives us a little bit of insight into the creators' realm of things, this change that took place through the industry as a whole, but also through Ulta saying, okay, you know, y'all have this 18-month turnaround from a concept of an idea to a product. We need to get that up to 9 months. So I'm going to go ahead and quote something from her article. The rise of brands like ColourPop have made it harder for brands to bide their time. In order to answer consumers' needs right now, they need to release product right now and not in 2 years. ColourPop sees you talking about duochromes, and they're releasing a set of duochromes in 6 weeks. Speaking of ColourPop, because there's certainly a lot of emphasis on ColourPop as a brand within this article, Makeup Struggles had put out a video not that long ago talking about how smaller influencers have stopped using brands like ColourPop because we can't keep up. And it's really true. It's absolutely true. That statement resonated with me as well. I can't keep up with ColourPop, so I kind of gave up trying. And it makes me wonder how many other people are doing the same thing. You know, for the influencers who are on the PR list and get the products to talk about them on the day they're released, that's fine. But there's so many of them that for us small channels, it's just like, why bother? We're never going to have our videos seen by the time we actually get our products. The speed of the releases is it's just shocking. So then she goes on to say, in the last few months, I've noticed more pushback from influencers and readers, viewers, along with increased popularity in content about decluttering or shopping one's stash. The whole concept of decluttering felt like a niche topic a couple of years ago, and now it seems to be present in the community's vocabulary. And what does that actually mean, the fact that decluttering videos have become so big? Why would that be of such interest to people? And I think there's several reasons for that. One being that I think pretty much everybody also needs to declutter. And along with that, I genuinely think that decluttering videos give you a more honest idea of how products perform than a first impression where somebody's, excited about a brand new product. And sure, you could get the same idea from watching somebody long enough where you kind of figure out, oh, that is something that they, genuinely use every day, as opposed to, say, they're in love with and it's their new favorite. Or you could just watch one declutter video and see somebody go through 100 or so products and keep the ones that meant the most to them, that they enjoyed the most. Personally, I've never gotten as much into the panning community, but I know that many, many people are, and it's a huge shift from what marketers actually want us to do. They don't want us to finish our products. They want us to keep buying more and more and more. It does make you wonder, though, at some point, doesn't it cross their minds just how much waste we're making as a planet just in beauty products? And I think another good example of this is Macy's Palette Resurrection series, which is a really great series in which she talks about palettes that nobody else is talking about because they're old. I love that series. I know a lot of other people love that series because we still have those palettes. They're still sitting in our shelves. Why do we have to go and buy $100 worth of new products every week? Why can't we just use what we have? Hello, a novel idea. And I think that it becomes really complicated when you factor in the YouTube and Instagram world and the amount of money that influencers make off of pushing products. I think that we have a hard time imagining it because even if, have you ever done the thing where you refer a friend and you get like a $10 bonus on a website? Just imagine multiplying that by 5 million, But again, those numbers are so hard to process that I don't think people do it. Another interesting thing that Temptalia talks about in this article is how 2017 was the year of eyeshadow, and boy was it ever the year of eyeshadow palettes. There was a 13% increase in sales of eyeshadow across the board. That was also the year that BoxyCharm started sending out eyeshadow palettes, and boy did they ever get popular when they started doing that. Oh my goodness. It's so funny because the most popular video that I have on my channel is me in a lot of ways slamming BoxyCharm. It goes to show how controversy sells because when I put that out, I absolutely meant it. And then I saw BoxyCharm get better. I witnessed it. But the irony is that now the tables have turned and now people feel like they don't want an eyeshadow palette every month. Oh my gosh, I have too many. It's really true that there's absolutely no reason in the entire world to get a new eyeshadow palette every single month. But for those of us in the beauty community, that's normal to get a palette every month, and yet you're never going to go through it. You are never going to finish a palette. Think about how many times you actually have thrown away a palette because it's empty. That never happens. So again, this was the situation where the average customer was actually noticing this and was saying, no, BoxyCharm, we don't want a palette every month. And I think, isn't this month one where they're not even sending out a palette? They finally listened to the people, even though they also listened to the people in 2017 when that's what they wanted. But it absolutely is this situation where you can only have so much. You will hit a saturation point, especially with products where you can't finish them. So Temptalia goes on to talk about the shift that we're seeing in the beauty community right now. And I think it's a really good point. You know, it's almost trending right now for influencers to make these statements that they're no longer going to be accepting PR. They're just overwhelmed with it. Samantha Ravindell's reasoning of wanting to make makeup fun again. It actually, that's kind of a bizarre thought, to think that receiving free products and just getting so, again, the word oversaturated can take the fun out of it all. It's so hard for us to imagine. But if you put yourself in their shoes, it kind of does make sense, you know? It's what happens when you have too much of anything. So a lot of the article continues to talk about the rise of skincare and how it's taking over in sales. See, I think this makes perfect sense, because what do you actually use? What products do you finish and need to go buy another of the exact same product? It's not eyeshadow palettes, it's skincare. You know, I think this is perfectly true. I definitely saw people trying to figure out how to spend that 25 off 75 coupon that Sephora sent out. Don't get me started on that. Don't do it. Don't get me started. But basically everybody was just talking about skincare, trying to get recommendations for more to buy of the skincare category, because we don't need makeup. We don't need it. We have everything we could possibly use. And even I've got to admit that it's hilarious that the couple of things that you replace often are now just as good at the drugstore. Like this L'Oreal Voluminous primer I'm using right now. I'm not going to replace this with Lancome's anymore. Why would I? It's the same thing. So instead, people are turning to high-end skincare, sure. But here's the catch, and here's where I think Temptalia is missing some information in the input that I would give her. And I kind of hate to say this because I know exactly where this is going, because it's in my head right now. I know where it's going to be. Once I say it, you'll say that's so cliche. But it's the next generation. It's the kiddos. The kiddos are still buying makeup, and they're going to keep buying makeup. And something that freaks me out tremendously about this upcoming generation, which I do see a fair bit of as somebody who works in entertainment, is that they spend money in ways that my generation didn't. And I'm not even that much older, but we didn't spend money the way that these kids do. I was at work the other day, and I saw a group of kids in Gucci shirts. Who knows if they were real or fake? But they were still wearing them, and that's just not something that when I was 19, 10 years ago, that people wore. We didn't wear Gucci shirts. You were pretentious if you wore a Gucci shirt. So I absolutely attribute this to social media and this generation of flexing or whatever it is. And again, you know I sound like a grumpy old grandma, but it's the reality of this generation. And so what's happened is marketers have figured this out, and they're selling all these kids all this expensive makeup, and these 19-year-old kids have beauty rooms, like Jaclyn Hill's. You know it's true. No, the pace of beauty is not sustainable per each generation, but it is if you continue to target the younger people, and especially if you continue with this mindset of spending. And there's a couple of other things that I blame for this. I hate to say this, but I really do blame beauty subscription boxes for creating this idea that drugstore is bad. I do think there's kind of a new progression of beauty where people subscribe to Ipsy or one of those subscription box services and get more into makeup as a result of that. I can say that's true even for me. But that model is such its own thing. You pay this flat rate, and whatever you get is what you get. So you learn to value items that are of a higher value, whether the quality is better or not. Because you're like, okay, well, I paid $10 and they sent me a NYX lipstick that I could have bought for $7 versus they sent me a sample of a product that retails for $160. You see how it works psychologically? Okay, so I thought I hit record, but I didn't, so I'll just go back to repeating what I was just saying. To answer Temptalia's question of whether the current pace of beauty is sustainable, I think it's yes and no. Yes, because there's always going to be a new grouping of 14-year-olds who's new to makeup and is excited about makeup. But also no, because people are going to hit a certain age of realizing, oh, I don't actually need all of these products that are being sold to me. But see, one thing that the beauty community will always have going for it is that people will always want to look their best. I don't think we're ever going to have a time where people just say, no, I'm done wearing makeup. And makeup also does go bad, so we're going to need to keep buying it in some capacity. So I think that the beauty community is kind of safe in some ways, but I also think that we're going to see brands come and go. And I think that's because, you know, even if you look at MAC, who was such a ridiculously successful brand, apparently MAC is now the mom brand to certain kids, and they don't want MAC, they want what's new and what's hot. And I think that even Anastasia Beverly Hills might be getting old in that aspect, which just really goes to show the turnover. I just realized that this entire video I've had my hood tucked under this. I hope I haven't looked too wonky this whole video. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the current pace of the beauty industry. Do you think it's sustainable, or do you agree that there's always going to be kids coming in, buying out everything? Make sure you check out Temptalia. Seriously, oh my goodness, seriously. Seriously. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, YouTube.